Okay, we are currently live. I'm just going to share this to one. I'm going to share this stream to one more page. Then we are going on ahead. This will. We're going to be doing a little bit of discussion here as well. Hold on. I wish there's a better way to. Okay, share to pages groups. Yeah, I already shared to those, so I just need to. I need to share to the one group that it doesn't seem to be set up. So, hold on a second. That will be very quick. Yeah, I should see it up here. Yep, it's up here and it's live. So more options. Share to a group. Do things manually. So we are starting this video a little bit earlier than usual because we... Okay, hold on. Yes, I'm double checking stats. Yes, now live. Should be getting a ton of moderation alerts here and there, but I shouldn't have to watch it because it's down here in the lower right hand corner. So I'm okay with that. We're going live right now. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Magic Arena Run. Today we are actually going to be doing a traditional Arena Cube draft. Well, now it seems like there's been quite a few changes to the pool, so I'm not gonna go over all the changes per se, but usually what I'd like to do here is go over what are the possible let's go over the usual typical archetypes, then we'll see what's actually quite supported. Now the usual trick is look at the multicolored cards and see if any of them line up. So I actually might have to take notes a bit. The good news, there aren't that many multicolored cards this time around. In fact, there's only quite a handful. The guaranteed one is that all the commands are present, and so I'm actually gonna use this to take notes. I probably should get I'm gonna open a quick sticky note here so I can type this up. So yeah, new sticky note. So right now, so white blue is definitely looking like control. Basically, so we're basically on the lookout for big key control cards. We're on the lookout for counter spells. The notable cards here would basically just be the Warrant War. It's basically the Sphinx's Revelation and the Cloud Blazer. Ojutai's Command also counts as a good control spell, but there aren't that many of these, so we have to be careful. Also note that we probably are missing some spells because they would be right here in the... Actually, no. I can swear that there was an Unburial Rites is yeah, like for example, Unburial Rites is technically a black-white card, but it kind of gets buried there. So that's something to take note of. So then we go to white-black. It definitely wants to... It also has good control elements, though it does benefit from early aggro. So this one is... So white blue is more like counter control. White black seems to be more like early... it's either early aggro control or kind of like reanimator control. Though it does have the possibility of doing early aggro. Even with a little bit of aristocrat style help. Blue black. Okay, definitely the Scarab God, Thief of Sanity. Basically, now this is the real reanimator color. And definitely also benefits from a lot of control elements. So oh, this is the real reanimator control. White black is kind of like the light version of this. Then blue red is definitely tempo control with a hint of casting spells. Okay, hold on. All of us, okay. There you go. I have to click on the actual screen. So black red, definitely aggro. There is a Death Matters team there, so you should be on the lookout for Sacrifice. So and similarly, black green has a bit of self mill, so we should be on the lookout for like escape cards like Polukranos, for example. That's a good one. Green red is definitely just aggro. It's kind of like aggro curve out, especially with the. But it does have the capability of casting big stuff like escape with the help of Escape to the Wilds. So it's kind of more along the lines of mid range and aggro. So I'm going over this one really quickly. Then we're gonna take a quick look at what we're on the lookout for. Lightning Helix, Warsinger Reinforcement Showdown. This is definitely early aggro. You kind of want the Showdown and Dolor Hold Command to be your last cards in that matter. So white red is more along the lines of now this is the real early aggro. Green white seems to have a +1/+1 counters matter, so it's like go wide +1/+1 counters matter. Green blue, this one is about ramp into big stuff. So that's all 10 colored pairs. Notably, we do have the 5 color special, though it's only Golos that supports it. I should check out the white cards to see if we have like a stray Kenrith there. That would also be another tell. But otherwise, do we have an artifacts team here? We actually do have quite a lot of artifacts here, so I don't want to say the colorless is possible, but I do want to say that it is very likely that we can, if not fill out our curve with a lot of these colorless cards, we can get some big stuff out of it. Like we got some extra synergies that can kind of help in any deck, either as a one-off side strategy. Also, let's take note of the lands that we have. So basically, we have shock lands, pathways. Okay, so we have the so we have either fast lands or cycling lands, and we have the check lands. There are also temples as well. Hold on. Okay, of note, the monocolored ones. Okay, the allied colored ones get the temples. The enemy color ones get the triomes, which makes sense. So it's still in favor of it still greatly favors enemy colored, but not too much. So doing a very quick look over. So I actually took a look at this earlier. So the one thing I noticed is that white has a lot of early aggro. Basically, we have a lot of reasonable creatures in the 1/2 slot, so that's a possibility. You got extra support in Mentor of the Neek. History of Benalia helps. Though generally, in this case, the mono white wants to top out the tree between Redane, Sigrid, Skyclave Apparition, Benelish, Marshall, even Basri. That wants a lot of great support. So basically, you're curving out 1 to 3, which is kind of awkward for Lurus, but at least it means you don't get too many stuff back. Also of note, we only have one. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3. 3 actual wraths. I guess you can count Ondu Inversion, but this is very slow. And we have 1 Settle the Wreckage. So basically, white has 4 functional board wipes. So white-blue control is possible, but you have to prioritize these. Also note that we did not see any of the multicolored board wipes as well. But control is reasonable, like cards like Felidar Retreat. Ranger of Eos is also a good top for the white aggro. Starnheim Unleashed, also a really powerful control finisher. Then you have Approach the Second Sun, ECD, Angel of Sanctions for extra control. So white can kind of split up along that way. You just have to decide where you line up with. Blue, this one's the one I'm concerned with because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 counter spells at 2 or less. Plus 1, so 7, 8, 9. This one kind of counts as 2 or less, but I'm just counting it up. 9, 10. 10 counter spells total at 3 or less. 11. 12, this one's a bit functional. 13. So there are 13 counter spells in blue alone. Note that there are no counter spells in multicolored, but having 13 counter spells means blue really wants to be more of the control color. They have some tools, mostly for evasion and getting stuff, or mostly getting card advantage. So blue is pretty much a supporting color. It is possible to do the mono blue special, but that one's a bit of a concern. Black, very strong on the sacrifice team. No innocent blood here. I see a Chainer's Edict, but has some really powerful support spells. Demonic Shooter. Okay, as far as removal goes, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 removal at 2 or less. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 at 3 or less. Okay, I guess you can say 14 also because you have this additional mode. But black only has like 1, 2 actual wrath effects. So black not so much. So black is pretty much going to be supporting based on its pinpoint. But it does have plenty of pinpoint. Has some really big bombs to get to there. So and also a Shieldred is a very good top end. So Reanimator can be self-contained in black if possible. Red, now let's take on the look on burn spells. So, okay, like 1, 2. Okay, actually, you know what? I think there's gonna be so many to count, but there are a good number of quality red burn spells here. So mono red aggro is very possible, but looking at this, you kind of want to top out with at least a few 4 drops. Experimental Frenzy instead of Fires of Invention is fairer, I would say. But yeah, mono red is very possible. Green pretty much has quite a good amount of ramps. So ramp at 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 at 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 9 at 2 or less. So 10, 11, 12. This one's kind of a iffy 13. This one's okay, too expensive at 4. But 13 at 3 or less. We do have a Vastwood Surge as an option at 4 mana. So ramp into big stuff is also quite possible. So suffice to say, this is very traditional as a cube goes. So we can actually play this one very safe here. We should be doing just about fine here. So we're gonna be on the lookout for, once we start dedicating ourselves to, so we're pretty much drafting into an archetype. We're not drafting particular rares. Now it's possible that, but we have to be careful we don't drive ourselves into a super narrow archetype or a super narrow line. In case we don't get the cards lining up, we have to be ready to shift towards another avenue of attack. But we should be fine here. So, like for example, we have the perfect finisher in Shieldred, but man, this is expensive as heck. We're also passing Languish and Bloodchief's Thirst, so we're passing a lot of good. So we're passing a lot of good removal here. I'm actually tempted to just let black go. We could do mono red aggro, or we can even do like a pseudo red white aggro ish. If I go for, I want to leave myself open, so most likely Rekindling Phoenix in that sense. It is possible we're passing open Reanimator. The thing is, black by itself is not. It's a lot of pinpoint, but we need extra support. We can do the super blue-black super control, just draft every counter spell we see afterwards. But I kind of want to open myself up to more options here. So we're gonna take the Rekindling Phoenix here. And okay, this is more. So we have a bit of an early aggro plan here. We can take Earthshaker Kenra, very good to eternalize. Obosh, unfortunately, we are starting off even, but if the Scorch Spitter wheels, we can. If Scorch Spitter wheels, we can take that. Another alternate is we can take Throne of the God Pharaoh, because if we just keep swinging, this one will do a number. There's a good chance that these would wheel, as long as no one else goes into the mono red deck. I'm gonna speculate and take the Throne of the God Pharaoh here. Cause worst case scenario, we can shift towards white aggro. Or even green good stuff here. Like I'm willing to take Showdown because that's a lot of card draw. We're also not getting much of anything else here. Yeah, we kind of. Yeah, here's a good reanimation spell as well. So Mace Mind, we're not going into control. So Mace Mind Tome Sphinx's Revelation's a no-go. Scrap Heat Scrounger is actually reasonable. I might just take Showdown because this gives us card draw near the end. I'm basically knocking on wood that we get a lot of cheap creatures along the way. Well, not cheap creatures, but that's a Captain Lanry Storm. That's haste that gives us that gives us treasure if we need it. Alternately, we can start cutting white, though these two are not that exciting. More likely they might take the Declaration in Stone. I'm gonna take the Lanry Storm. I'm gonna try to cut red as much as possible here and see if we get anything back. There's also Field of the Dead, but that's more of a control card. I'm gonna see if we can avoid that. Well, we can also go red. We can also splash a little bit. Basically, Atarka's Command is probably one of the best aggro support spells there is. Because otherwise, I'm just taking Thundering Rebuke. I could also take I'm gonna take the spell first and hope some part of the mana wheels. So it looks like white is not coming back. So white is probably gonna be the splash. Green, however, is still live here. So I have to decide between Rejuvenator, which is a ramp plan, which is not bad. We are kind of mid-rangey right now, or Rex Sage, which is a very good support spell. And there are plenty of artifacts we can hit. I'm actually gonna go for Rejuvenator for now. I hope I did not pass too many big cards though. Most of the big cards we passed, notably, are not in these colors. Okay, Lava Coil. Fabled Passage is probably what we should take. Hold on. We can also do big black-red control. I'm gonna take the Fabled Passage, which is the most boring card I could take, but it's either that or Lava Coil. Actually, Lava Coil is probably not a bad pick as well. I'm gonna take the Lava Coil. No, I should take the Fabled Passage because it opens us up to both. Yeah, we'll take the Fabled Passage. Very boring. Normally, you'd prefer to start taking this at turn 3. Okay, so we got Big Red here. We're gonna take Chandra. Kind of wish I could take one of these others instead. We're not gonna see any of these back. Trashing Brontodon is also a good one, but we're gonna go for Chandra here. So the Showdown Skulls did not pan out here, so we're probably gonna go green red. We do get a Resilient Kenra, so not the the Kenra we're looking for is in the next pack, but at least we have something early. So we have a bit of an early plan, but so what are we essentially looking for? We're either looking for more ramp or more mid-range. At this point, that's pretty much the plan. It's as plain as it goes, but we're gonna have to be very efficient about it. Showdown is not necessarily off the table. We don't exactly have a way to draw extra cards out of this. If I can keep this curve as low as possible, okay, we got. Actually, what's the flip side? List set. Whenever you gain life, there's not much life gaining here. I can take Dracoset, but we're gonna need a lot of help ramping to this guy. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. I might actually just take this. I might actually take this for Lisette. So we're gonna. So this is really for Lisette. We got the shelter ticket back, so we're definitely not going to showdown. Also, we got the Kazandu Mammoth. Alternately, we can take Vraska as a support removal, but if we can take this and get this as extra land support, I will take that. Hey, we actually got all the lands back and the Cultivate. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Cultivate here. Soul Guide Lantern. But now that we've taken that, we have to. Well, there's our big boy, and it's pretty much big boy or big removal. Yeah, we're going Vorinclexer. We're taking the big dude. Sad we're gonna be passing Scarab God, and not much in the way of Captivating Crew is very good though. But we kind of need a few go big ones here. It's possible I'm taking it too early, but at least we got extra support on the way back. Well, there's Bergie, but we really need the Bone Crusher Giant here. So we're basically looking for. We haven't gotten much in the way of removal right now. It's pretty much, we're really big red at this point. We passed quite a bit of removal. Also note that we've passed two of the deal 4 damage for 2 mana cards. We passed the Thundering Rebuke and the Lava Coil. So we're probably not getting those back. Which means we're kind of all in on this at this point. I say it's fine. So we're going to take Kogla. So yeah, the Cultivate was a very good pickup at this point since we're leaning towards a higher count as well. I will prioritize removal as well. Okay, so we actually have a decision. Though Waking the Trolls is super expensive. I can just take Magda Brazen Outlaw just to have something that gives us some early token generation. I'm probably gonna take this one. Also, Waking the Trolls, very, very specific. We could run it. I don't think other decks can. Unless there's another deck that happens to be along those same lines, which would be a big bummer. So, Showdown is looking more and more off the table, but I need just one other good card that is not heavy on white, and I will reasonably put the Showdown in. Also, that means we have 2 ways of getting treasure between Lanry, Storm, and Magda. Actually, if we have more ways of getting treasure, we should be able to punch this further. So, we're just waiting for the rest of these. Wow. Okay, and we have the one guy that all the packs are stranded with. It's gonna take quite a while. Okay, they're slowly filtering through. Yeah, looks. Well, we can't be too harsh. It's also very possible that the one guy the packs are stranded with might have disconnected. It happens. Most of the time, I would attribute it to high latency, especially if you're playing on mobile. Okay, we have to. There's a Stomping Ground I really want, but since we're going for super top end, we have to prioritize cheap removal. So Lightning Strike goes. We're unfortunately too high of a cost to make Experimental Frenzy worth it. And we got. Ooh, okay, we got some options here. I can take Vastwood Surge. This will help. This does set us up from 4 to 6 mana. Alternately, if we can get a few cheaper creatures, like so far none of these are human. Well, Lisette's human. Actually, yeah. But our early drops are not human. I can get. We are also short of artifact removal, enchantment removal, so I'm willing to take this one. Hornet Queen is something I'd like, but it's also possible that there is a Reanimator deck already. We've passed a lot of cards that support that. I guess our hope is that we run them down earlier. Ooh, there's a Night Pack Ambusher. Cosmos Elixirs helps us survive in the long game. This also helps us draw cards. Gilded Goose, early drop. I think I actually want to take the Gilded Goose here. Because we have to prioritize ramp into big. And that also means we have to take stuff like Crush the Weak because, well, there's also Domri. There's also ramps as well. I'm gonna take Domri. And we got the Captivating Crew back, which is actually perfect here. We're kind of passing Elvish Reclaimer, but this does not help us ramp mana. Shame. Also, shame we're passing Archer for Raska, but we're not planning to play the long game here. We're planning to just run out big stuff, get it over quickly. So our ramp plans are basically treasure ramp, land ramp, or survive long enough. Oh, actually, Atarka's command also ramps, so that actually helps us too. I actually forgot. So Lisette is probably looking like a dud card here. Ooh, Chainweb Arachneer or Sawtusk Demolisher. Destroy target non-creature permanent. I'm actually gonna take this one. This is because that's also a sideways way of getting stuff done. We can choose to take Blast Zone. I think I'm gonna just take the Wait, do we have the? I know we have green, red, blue, black. Okay, just take the breeding pool. And there's also Botanical Sanctum. Yeah, the Waking the Trolls came back as I suspected. I might actually just take the Botanical Sanctum. Yeah, we'll take the Waking the Trolls, but I probably don't want to run it. We got the Stomping Ground back, so that's good news. So our mana base, and we even got the Vastwood Surge back. So we're not short. So we're not short on playables here, but so we have to find ways to make the deck better, or at least more consistent. So Fateless Looting is a good way to do that. Though we're not Reanimator. Direfleet Daredevil, it's from our opponent's graveyard, so it could sometimes you can get something out of it. It's also an early drop that we can run out. Alternately, Mouth to Feed. This is an early enough drop which we can use to draw cards afterwards. I'm actually gonna take Mouth over Direfleet Daredevil. Our curve is noticeably high on the tree, and so we still need to prioritize cheap, like Shock or Skewer. There's also a Kolaghan's command. This is very good, but I don't want to stretch our colors because we have a lot of double and even triple costs. I probably want to take Shock or Skewer at this point. We're gonna take the Skewer. Alternately, we can take Primal Might, but we should be able to win without it. Okay, Dragon Master Outcast 2. Voracious Hydra is removal. In a sense, we can, though it's a bit picky in how to. With enough ramp, we can use this as removal. Alternately, if I want to just make the deck more consistent, there's Once Upon a Time. We have plenty of creatures to take out of this. Come on, don't slow down too much. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna take how much? I'm gonna take the Once Upon. No, I'll take the Voracious Hydra. It's flexible. And okay, early removal, Royal Eruption, best mid-range creature, air quotes, Esika's Chariot. So the early aggro plan's gone, so Throne of the God Pharaoh can go. I think we have too many force, so I kind of want to take the Royal Eruption instead. Though there is a good argument for Esika's Chariot, though. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Royal Eruption. That is what I said. And yeah, let the timer run out. No regrets. Okay, super. Nope, I am not gonna run Keruga. Not after we've invested so many picks on early. Though, if I kill six of our cards, Keruga is arguable. I probably don't want to though. Cultivator's Caravan is plausible. It allows some of our smaller creatures to represent the 5/5, and we can just use this as a mana rock. I'll take that. So Sarkhan's Sealing. We got an Abrade. We also have a Hall of Oracles, but we're expecting our creatures to all be reasonably big. So I'm actually going to take the Abrade here. So all of a sudden, the Royal Eruption, not so great. Mizzix's Mastery. I'm going to take the Platinum Angel just so... because this is probably the most annoying card that we can face against. Also, we don't have that much removal. I'm not so sure if we're gonna face off against any others, but better to have the extra. Okay, so actually I have a choice between Banefire and Guardian Idol. Since we're ramping, both of them are good. This one just helps us ramp more. Or this one helps us win once we do get the ramp. We're kind of mid-rangey, so I will take the Banefire. Though I can see an argument. I can see a good argument for. I can see a good argument for the Guardian Idol. That's also not wrong. Okay, we have a big Ulvenwald Hydra, but between Vorinclex Kogla, Sawtusk Demolisher, we're kind of fine with these. Wildest Dreams. We'll take the Primal Might. Well, I probably don't want to run this. And we're playing traditional, so I'm actually going to take the Unstable Obelisk as an insurance policy. That's actually something to remember. So Blossoming Defense actually reasonably good. Again, I'm taking this as an insurance policy, so we're basically filling out our sideboard now. We got the Hinterland Harbor. We don't have any blue cards except Magma Opus, which is actually it's not too bad. We did also take the Breeding Pool. I'll take the Plain White Celebration though. Okay, Building and Inscription of Insight. So we kind of want to ramp into big stuff, so we have to run 17 lands, which means we have to make exactly one cut. So I am liking our early drops, so we're going to be taking a look at our late drops here. Voracious Hydra is probably the most questionable one of the bunch. Also, first, let's put these in. Also, we're leaning 12-14. It's incentivizing me to cut a red card, actually. Probably hold on, let's check our removal suite. 1, 2, 3. This is not really removal. 4, 5, 6. Those expensive. 7 pieces of removal. I guess I'm fine. We can also just cut the land, which is probably a bad idea. Actually, the weakest card here is probably the Mount to Feed. So I'm gonna cut that one for now. That's probably the weakest card of the bunch. Hold on, let's do a double check. How many cards do we draw off this? Draw a card for each creature you control with power 3 or greater. So actually, no, we'll keep that. We technically can just cut the land because we are running Kazandu Mammoth. So it's like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10. We're running essentially 10, 10. So we're gonna cut one mountain here. Yeah, there's a reason I took the Kazandu Mammoth. So that's pretty much our main plan. The question now is, what would be our alternate plan? Well, if our opponent's super aggro, the Daredevil comes in, Blossoming Defense comes in, Primal Might comes in because we need a lot more removal. If our opponent is more along the lines of control, that actually sounds like the same plan. We might add in Unstable Obelisk or Platinum Angel depending on what we're facing up against. So that's pretty much the plan right now. We're also going to be Yeah, I really hate that it counts the sideboard as part of your color scheme. So I'm going to have to make another fake deck for the thumbnail. But otherwise, here we go. Let's see how well we do on this first draft here. So the thing is, our big concern is if we face off against super unfair decks like the ones that run a game plan. So we have to keep the pressure, pedal to the metal. We cannot afford our opponent to relax. Yeah, that's usually a sign, but we're going Magda into. So I actually have. So I'm actually gonna play the Fabled Passage turn 1. We don't exactly have. We only have one landfall trigger, and since I know I need the double red now, I'm actually gonna just grab a mountain. So turn 2 Magda probably gets killed depending what our opponent's second color is. Oh, mono white. Okay, so our opponent's gonna be dropping a lot of stuff. So all of a sudden, this looks good. Also kind of curious, what's our opponent up to right now? I hope it's not us who disconnected. Am I still on? Yeah, the stream is still on. There's a okay, there might be slowdowns here and there, but definitely it's possible also that our opponent might have been called to task for something else, like I'm in the middle of the draft. Oh my goodness, something's happening at home. Hey, let's be honest, that could happen. Or I'm drafting while I'm commuting. Well, commuting, actually commuting still possible now. A lot of countries seem to have kind of normalized at this point, so we can't complain. So they can't complain too. So we're kind of getting back to normal in a sense, but I don't think we're ever going to say we're normalized at this point anymore. We can safely say that we're getting better, but we're not going to be the same again. Let's see if our opponents come back. Because if this is how we win our first match, it's sad. I'll take it, but it's sad if this is how it goes. So for those tuning in right now, we are drafting and it looks like our opponent might have disconnected. Our opponent's last step was to play the second planes and nothing. So it looks like an actual disconnection. This definitely does not look like a rope. Oh yeah. Oh. So yeah, this looks like an actual disconnection. So I think our first game is a bye. It's fine, but the sad thing is we've learned absolutely nothing about our deck as a result. So, and the other thing is, I would be expecting a Doomscar. Okay, the reason I'm only doing this is because I'm able to get away with it. Yeah, looks like our opponent really just... Okay, looks like something really happened to our opponent. Yeah, I know some people say, oh my gosh, I'm being rude. Okay, our opponent came back. They're definitely mono white, but if they're mono white, there's several tempos behind. That said, I know that the board wipes are at 5 mana. Banishing Light is still plausible, so... I'm gonna basically force them to be on the back foot by having to respond to multiple different kinds of threats. And this one's super greedy, but we are gonna hit 5. We are going to hit 5 mana soon. So I'm just waiting for our opponent to... Well, settle the wreckage is also a possibility, but... You may have target creature get +X/+X. No, opponent opens on Basri's Lieutenant. With counter on itself. Oh shoot! I pressed the wrong one.
I can be a little reckless. So
Wait,
what?
Atarkus commands an instant. Can't gain life, deals 3 damage. You know what? I'll take that alternate plan. That was a happy accident. So basically, the plan is to send our opponent all the way down to 1. Also, I need to double check. When can... It's until end of turn, so our opponent will gain 2 life. Giving +1... Yeah, this one's kind of meaningless, but we don't exactly have anything here. Opponents can't gain life this turn. Yeah. So let's see if our opponent does have the Wrath effect. Or if they have a really big creature. Now, the really big creature is the scary one. Ira Dawnbringer. Yeah, us discarding those cards, but this was a horrible mistake. They're both +1s. What the hey? Okay, interesting.
You know, I'm gonna do what feels right.
So Domri doesn't quite do it. Like, I can mutate this onto, say, Magda. That makes this a 6/5. Nope, too small. Makes this a... No, not 6. It'll make it a 4/4. I'm doing the math wrong. I could have played both of these, but... Yeah, we got our opponent concede. Actually, the Vorinclex was good enough to do it. So we were saved from our own mistake. Thank you. So our opponent's definitely going to be more aggro at this point. I think the Primal Might is correct to add for this one. Voracious Hydra is still fine. Sawtusk Demolisher less so. But I probably will put it back if when we're on the play again. Blossoming Defense, probably possible. I didn't see much in the way of spells we could cast, so Darfleet is not certain. Again, Mounted Feed seems to be the weakest one, but that is our emergency. So we'll run it like that for now. Looks like our opponent is just running straight mono white, which, well, that is the safest way to play. Just go mono, but the thing with mono color is you don't have enough of everything to fill out the deck. So turn 1 Stomping Ground. Yeah, we're gonna expect to see 1-drops galore at this point. Giant Killer. Okay, that's fine. So it's gonna take us a while. It's like our turn 3 play is definitely gonna be Elvish Rejuvenator chump blocking. Well, that depends what stuff our opponent drops. Definitely has a 2-drop Ancestral. Actually, you know what? Maybe not. I'm actually gonna burn the Giant Killer. Because I want our opponent to actually play a 3-drop so we can just skewer it. No, opponent passes. Okay. So we're gonna go for the ramp. Let's see. Hope we hit. Okay, we hit, but it's a mountain, so we're nowhere near to casting Kogla, but we are near to casting Chandra. Opponent hits their 4th land. A big 4-drop will be a concern. Also, I should have paid attention to what we were binning to the bottom. Elspeth's Son's Nemesis, so definitely go wide.
Itself cannot
If our opponent chooses to pump, that's kind of okay. No, we'll take the hit. Opponent most likely just makes tokens. There you go.
You are going to fight. Fight beside me.
Okay. Plan B. Looking over. Nuke the Ancestral Blade. Alternately, I should have aimed for the opponent's face, but I think our opponent's gonna let it slide. There you go.
My hopes, yours,
Definitely gonna... I don't think our opponent's gonna leave back blockers. They might try to find a way to kill this, though. Thankfully, this is a 4-drop. Okay, we hit the Cultivate. We get to drop a land. I'm gonna attack first, see if we get a response. Nope. So I have two choices. I can cultivate into Skewer. I can cultivate into Domri into Skewer. Or I can Chandra and just start pinging stuff. Actually, I think I like the cultivate into...
Is my bread and butter.
Yeah, that one just ensures that the... Now, we could still be dead to, like, if our opponent has a big one, but if our opponent's aiming for just, say, Big Angel, we have the Kogla already. No, it says Italia, just makes the Chandra slightly more expensive. Opponent, as I guess, goes after that. So...
I bow to no one.
Let's be careful not to click the wrong one this time. So now our opponent has to decide if they want to snipe Domri or if they want to snipe Chandra. If their play is to drop a big creature, we have a way back. Angel of Sanctions, we will get... Let's see which one they take. Which one did they take? Yeah, they take the big one, that's correct. I think they might swing after Domri, yes.
You hit like a child. Oh, I wish you could see your face when I'm beating you.
So that gives us Chandra back, which gives us... Let's be careful. Yeah, opponent concedes there. We managed to overrun our opponent there. Yeah, mono white. I think the problem was because our opponent was going both ways. They were doing both the aggressive route and the control route. And actually looking over the cards, yes, you can do all of that if you stick to mono white. The problem is you're not doing either of them well. Like, you're doing mono white. Yeah, if your opponent stumbles, you get to overrun. You get the late game control. Yeah, that works if you've managed to put your opponent in the back foot early on. But if you fail on either, you're not getting... You're not gonna win. Anyways, but that is our first win. So at least we get... Well, we get the same thing as if we didn't win at all. Let's try to get at least one more win. Let's get our buy-in back again. But yeah, monocolored as a strategy... I think mono red is the one that's plausible. Mono blue is plausible if you do all counters, but you still need to get the finisher from somewhere, and you're not getting that from blue, to the best of my knowledge. So yeah, you basically have to have a 2-color plan. And be ready to shift from one plan to another. So this is unkeepable. We're literally... Yeah, the rule is if your first play is... If I draw a land, that's not a first play. which is sad. We have the 2 into a 3. And we have some finishers. This one is more reasonable. We'll probably bin the Sawtoss Demolisher. So we're gonna go for the turn 2 Magda. Let's see if our opponent. Let's hope our opponent doesn't try to. Okay, black. Now this one is more likely to have a kill spell, and there are 3 kill spells at 1, and and several at 2. So we're literally knocking on wood that Magda can at least hit. So in the event that we fail to draw our 3rd land, we're fine. The moment we do fail to draw our 3rd land, we're in, okay. Now the odds of this guy surviving, yep, 0. Between red and black, plenty. The good news is we drew a 3rd land. Now we're literally on a wing and a prayer to draw the 4th land, preferably red, but I will take Captivating Crew. Black red seems to be like it's the all removal colors early on. I think our opponent has our opponent did not play any aggro creatures, not yet. Inscription of Ruin. Yeah, they're going for the kill. Unfortunately, we whiffed on land. So this is probably where we make adjustments to our. But the thing is, oh, opponent did. Okay, Elvish Rejuvenator is fine. Please give us red. Yeah, Shelter Ticket because it comes in play tap anyway. So we will be able to get the Rekindling Phoenix, though there are a few. If our opponent swings, our opponent could be playing Reanimator, but he has the weird. Well, actually, it's not too weird. Red does have discard and draw. Okay, that looks like poison. If our opponent's playing black red, that's a poison to cup. So also let's check at the beginning of your upkeep. So I might play the Captivating Crew just to bait out removal. This feels like a poison to cup. Yeah, I'm gonna just bait out removal. Hey, Steve Crew, thank you for liking the stream. How are you doing? I hope you're having a great weekend right now. Yeah, this is very. Yep, poison the cup. Paying attention to the card pool helps, but yeah, here's the thing. If I played Rekindling Phoenix, I won't get it back. There's no guarantee I get it back because our opponent could be sitting on yet more removal. Nope, opponent's sitting on Professor Onyx. So we are in real trouble. This can only hit. We can Royal Eruption in case of emergency. The interesting thing also is that we can no, not Chandra. Well, technically we can now Chandra. Because this one is sacrifices a creature, so it can't hit Planeswalkers. This one can. So feels really sad, but I'm kind of doing it like this. We'll probably play the Rekindling Phoenix late. Also, our opponent might have just even more removal. I'm basically playing out as much stuff as I can to bait out as much removal from our opponent as I can for the time being. It's not looking good for us, not gonna lie. If our opponent goes for reanimating the Archfiend's Vessel, we at least have the Royal Eruption plus Chandra plan. Opponent is... Actually, Professor Onyx is very good for a Reanimator style build, but our opponent just discard even with the Thoughtseize. So what do they have here? Eldest Reborn is a problem. Okay, if our opponent doesn't put down anything that doesn't mess with Chandra, mess with Rejuvenator, I can Royal Eruption, Elvish, attack, and ding -2, which is I'm stringing it out. Okay, opponent goes Ruin Blaster. Takes out the land. So, well, unfortunately, it took out the land we needed. We'll ding this one. Oh no, going for our face. Okay. Opponent clearly did not have removal.
You're quite the best.
And we are able to take down Professor Onyx, aka Liliana. Chandra gets her revenge, sort of. Opponent Noxious Gear Hulk destroys the creature. But we still have a way to nuke the Noxious Gear Hulk. I'm assuming our opponent has a way to reanimate this though. Yeah, opponent is gonna smartly... Oh no, they're still going for our face. Wait, change their mind? Change their mind.
What a warm reception.
Okay, unfortunate... Well, I can actually just cast Skew... I can just cast Skewer instead since I'm not attacking. If things get really bad, I will get to the point where I just discard everything. Opponent probably gets back... Okay, they can get this back. They won't be able to pump it, so that's 3 for Shieldred Whispering one. Oh. Okay, not good. Okay, can't sacrifice a creature. So our opponent starts getting creatures back. Let's see, one they get back is Noxious Gear Hulk. They can also pay this one. The problem is also I played the land. Yeah, our opponent just ended up hardcasting it. Yeah, the Ruin Blaster was a good one. Actually, our opponent has a lot of good spells that I'm going to side in the Darfleet Daredevil. So yeah, I'm gonna actually let's go to the next game here. This one's a little bit early, but considering our mana situation and what we have on hand, we're not gonna overcome a Shieldred. So Darfleet comes in. Darfleet Daredevil comes in. Blossoming Defense comes in. Our opponent has an Onyx, so there's a good reason to maintain the Sawtusk Demolisher. They don't have that many big creatures, so Voracious Hydra comes out. Captivating Crew can stay, I guess. Rekindling Phoenix is also there. It's also annoying for our opponent. I guess we take out the Mount to Feed this time. Now, there is a good reason. Now, we did have the Soul Guide Lantern, and our opponent does get stuff back, so we're going to put that in. We probably cut, say... I do have to cut something big. I could just cut Kogla. Our opponent does have big targets. I can cut Captivating Crew because this one's a bit wonky to play, and our opponent did demonstrate a lot of cheap removal. So this is this is the plan. But if our draws are, if our opening hands are as bad as the last one, we're still gonna be coming from behind. Okay. Our opponent has a Thoughtseize, so we could probably lose this. Okay, so I can mulligan this, but it's possible I mulligan to something worse. And that leaves us 10 out of 50 something, so I'm gonna gamble and keep this, which is probably the dumbest thing to do, so please, kids, don't try this at home. Opponent taking a nice mulligan, so opponent doesn't know that we kept really... Oh, taking a nice mulligan again. So we're on the lookout for early drops. Okay, there's a Royal Eruption, which I'm probably gonna hold. Okay, that's been slightly off timing, but I'll play that. Our opponents also wait. Our opponents showed blue, but didn't exactly have that many blue. So opponent probably just gets to kill this, which I'm fine with. Basically, I'm trying to force our opponent to empty out their hand. Really thinking this one through, actually. So we still haven't drawn lands yet, but that's 10 out of 31. Okay, we finally drew another land. Opponent, yeah, our opponent has, between all the removal our opponent had, that was a really good draft for them. Also, sad to say, the Darfleet Daredevil not gonna exactly hit anything. Okay, Elvish Rejuvenator. I'm actually scared to play this one because, sure, we hit the land, but actually, you know what? Fine. Let's just play this. Let's force our opponent to, yeah, hit the shelter ticket. These are medium. The Soul Guide Lantern would be nice. And I'm really holding on to this because we can. We're now at the point we can get this at 5 damage. Our opponent can play Ruin Blaster, in which case I just chump. Actually, no. I probably should not chump because let's force our opponent to remove it. Oh no, opponent's holding back. In which case, let's eternalize this. Force our opponent to use removal on this. And they still have to worry about the 4/4. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Yep, take action. And so they've used like 2 removal spells on Beat the Swarm. Okay. They've used 3 removal spells. They got the Valky, but we can still clear it. And we have enough land that we can both clear then swipe. Yeah, you don't have enough mana to take that. So I have options here. I can actually Darfleet Daredevil, hit this one. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that since we're not in a hurry. And we're gonna go Scorching Dragonfire. Just to make sure this does not come back. Our opponent has a certain reanimation strategy line or ways to get cards back. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Now our opponent could have proper discard and we lose the Vorinclex anyway. But at the very least we do have... Well, we're still technically behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So... Sign in Blood. Opponents take... Ooh, nice. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, enters tap. If the opponent knew what kind of hand we kept, they might be a little bit... They're definitely stuck at some point or another. So what are our concerns? Professor Onyx is a concern. Our opponent probably wants to just play removal spell on Vorinclex ASAP. Actually, Onyx, they... How many loyalty counters does it come with? Because that's going to be halved. Anyway, so our opponent... Yeah, it looks like they're also stuck at mana. And yeah, by playing all these out, we got them to play all their cheat removal, and they're packing it in. So we did get 1 win out of this. Our opponent does go on the play first. So okay, Unstable Obelisk, Throne. No, actually, I think this is it. I don't think I can come up with anything better for this particular situation. We are hitting the Blossoming Defense. Might be a little bit questionable, but okay, we're gonna keep this. main line is we need to have early plays to force our opponent to use their removal early. Because if we let them sandbag their removal, like if they were able to hold that feed the swarm for one reason or another, it would be a closer match than it is. So turn 1 Gilded Goose, turn 1 Gilded Goose. I'm expecting this to die though. Actually, yeah, this is probably a horrible keep now that I think of it. Because especially in black-red, they have the removal to nuke the goose. Okay. Worst case scenario, we're able to... So the worst case scenario, we will be playing this turn 4. Let's see, does our opponent hit this with removal? I'm certain they will. It's no Sign in Blood. Okay. So just to make sure that we still have red mana after this, we're gonna convert the food into treasure. Then next turn, most likely the goose might die, but actually that'll depend what our opponent plays next. Valky, God of Lies, so we're probably gonna lose the Bone Crusher Giant. I don't think we're gonna lose some Gem Razor. Yeah, we're probably gonna lose. Yeah, I should resolve it. Why am I doing this? We're probably gonna lose Bone Crusher. Oh wait, is our opponent gonna really take Gem Razor? Well, they can. It is a 4/4, but no. The smart play is to take Bone Crusher. There you go. That's a smart play. And hope I don't hit removal. Well, that's gonna be a long way off. So again, we're gonna just swing with everything here. We're not... Our opponent probably doesn't want to trade at this point. Actually, they might still trade. Which is fine. It gets me the Bone Crusher back, and we actually set up to cast Kogla next turn. I'm gonna assume our opponent kills this. No, Chromatic Glant. Oh, they're taking their time. Archfiend's Vessel. That's... Still drawing forests, but... Hold on. Yeah, take note, we don't have any more red mana. I can really just wait on this, so... I'm gonna go for the insurance policy and just cash all the red mana right now. It'll be sad if it turns out I draw into something else, but... As it stands, I know I can cast this in 2 turns. Opponent really has to hit removal. Languish. That's good one. That's a good one. So Darfleet Daredevil that we can't cast. We can cast the Kogla next. I would prefer to cast the Darfleet first, but that will need some help. Opponent goes Scarab God. Oh good. Thank goodness, thank goodness, thank goodness. And it's owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step, so they get to cast it again. They probably want to remove this first though. Noxious Gear Hulk, yeah, that'll do it. And now I have to deal with Scarab God soon. We finally hit the red mana, but what do we get? I think the correct play is to actually just get the Sign in Blood. But now this is the part where, yeah, the ramp goes a little bit too far. We're probably... not gonna make it this much. Actually, an argument could be made for like playing the Kogla earlier. So this has Menace, so we're gonna only go Scarab God again. Scarab God always very good. Tarka's Command can't. So I have to decide. Hold on. I can cast both.
Be careful. I'm alright, nada.
People say I'm magnificent, whatever that means.
So I'm gonna swing with this one first. Hope our opponent misses that it has first strike. If not, they'll take it, then I just have them fight. Basically, I'm trying to find excuses to keep delaying this one as long as possible. Cause they have plenty of good choices to pick from our graveyard. So we're gonna lose the. We could actually lose Chandra. So most likely what we do is 3 damage. If we hit the Soul Guide Lantern, I might. Okay, so opponent recasts that. We lose Domri. Or we get Chandra down to 1. That's also no. They're going for our face. Yeah, we're very close to death actually. That makes sense. So hit Vorinclex. Our opponent could have a counter spell, which would be super annoying if that's their last card. We can't fight with this. But we might as well plus.
They can only punish
Because
you if they catch you.
okay, cancel first. Okay, we got our opponent down, so our opponent is now forced to block. Which means... Now here's the thing, if our opponent's sandbagging the last removal spell, it's all over for us. They do have the mana to exile a creature at the beginning though. They exile Golden Goose. Yeah, so I'm actually forced to hold back. Then our opponent gets another card, most likely Kogla. Because this one attacks, it gets blocked by this one, then I die to this. If I hold back, they oh no, they reanimate Kogla, but it's not enough to kill it. Does he have anything else? I think the correct play is actually no attacks. Which is... otherwise it's no attacks or pack it in. That's literally the only two options. Oh wait, I forgot. This has Menace. There was no way out of it. So we didn't win this one. Yeah, Scarab God really good. We needed a Soul Guide Lantern. I guess there's an argument for discarding so that we're not forced to. Yeah, I kind of got greedy with that one. The play we could have done is, well, no, our opponent would just swung with everything. So we got one game left, one last chance to break even. Yeah, we kind of whiffed on that one. But we did win one game out of that last match, so it's not... Considering the hand we had, we can't complain too much about it. Okay, this is definitely keepable. we can clear out early and we can ramp later. And we get to start with Magda. Now let's see what our opponent is showing 2 colors, but if these are the only colors our opponent is showing, we might be in for a good... Oh no, they do have, of course they have black. Blood Artist. Oh, that's fine. So... the correct play is to actually just snipe this one now. So it's only the problem that one time instead of forever. It also lets us hold up Lightning Strike if we need to. Yeah, our opponent is probably gonna go wide plan. Yep, definitely go wide. Let's see what our opponent's other choice is. This does not have first strike, so that's an issue. I could just leave these guys alone. Nope, we got Domri. Now, fight unfortunately doesn't do much. Actually, no, fight does something with this. But I need to attack first. So I'm literally just trading for a treasure. Now, okay, let that go. So I need to cast this. Give up both treasures.
Let's just run.
And clear the board.
Ravnica deserves its demise.
So there we go. We got that one out of the way. Now let's see if our opponent has another. Now the problem with tree cards. Okay, no, draw one card, lose a life. That's okay. Looks like our opponent's already. Yeah, they're stuck.
Busting heads is my bread and butter.
Unfortunately, our next play we need to have better cards than this at this point. But you know what? If our opponent's only play is Falmar Knight, we can punch through that. We are also kind of willing to wait. We have to be careful with giving up Dom. Ooh, go loss. Okay, now here's the thing. We have to be careful with giving up Domri because this is only a 5-3 while Domri is here. If we tick this down -2, that's not enough. A Braid would be the perfect one. Oh, opponents did not. So my play is actually to just swing first. Our opponent, yeah, they're probably gonna block because they're a long way off from.
I was raised by wolves.
Now
Well,
the sad thing is that I probably should have played the Fabled Passage to start getting even more lands out since we need to start drawing gas. Which is like what? We have 7, 8, 9. This one would get another one out. Yeah, we got nothing to show for really. Though we took out a problematic go loss. But our opponent seems to be mid-range big stuff, so our Lightning Strike is not gonna really cut it. Especially if they hit an Unburial Rites. Yeah, so they are on the Reanimator plan. They might even start looking for the... Oh no, they're really set on this. So it's literally just a 3-5. 1-1. I might just hold. Our opponent could have a fight spell, which would make this annoying. But I'm gonna pass.
Nothing but dust when I'm done.
Now they get to bite back, but they would have taken quite a bit of beating along the way. seeing that we're getting some nice particle effects. Yeah, this one's gonna get killed. They must have destroy. Okay, that's fine. Our opponent goes on burial rites. So they're only gonna get back go loss, only. But that's still a big thing. We need to hit one of our bigger threats. And to think that this is some third time go loss. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is where we could use the extra card draw. So we're gonna lose Domri, which is bad news. We're also gonna start getting overrun at this point. The only good news is our opponent did not... Oh, and then there's a shield red. So... we can mount. We can feed to draw a card. Yeah, we're just drawing lands. And they get to return... well, something small. So I'm gonna actually call this now. Our opponent's gotten the shield red online. So it looks like Reanimator is quite popular in this cube. So Soul Guide Lantern comes in. Blossoming Defense comes in. Starfleet Daredevil, there was some removal but not much. Banefire comes in. Unstable Obelisk. Plausible, it's kind of expensive. I guess we could try that instead. There's also an argument for Platinum Angel, but I'm pretty sure our opponent running that much removal. Also, I don't want to risk giving our opponent a way to... so I'm actually going to cut the Vastwood Surge. I don't think we want that much ramp. So, based on this one... Captivating Crew is actually fine. I'm actually going to cut the Obelisk. Gem Razor is fine. I might just keep these. I might cut the Rekindling Phoenix. Actually, no, it's a good flyer. I might, yeah, cut them out to feed. So, that's our initial plan. But, yeah, it's looking like all the stars aligned for a lot of the cheap removal to be available in, especially black. But white has quite a few also that's good at dealing with permanents. So, we are keeping this one. So we got turn 2 Bone Crusher or Atarka's Command. If we draw more lands, I remember I can use this as a ramp spell, so I can just Dome Tree ramp. Unfortunately, we did not draw that, so we're actually gonna hold. I might just Bone Crusher whatever our opponent drops next. Okay, skeleton. Okay, that's... it's the worst thing to use this on. And this is also bad because it signals our opponent probably has Bloodcore Bones. But the reason I do that is because... and this battlefield tap, so Callous Blood Mage. So we're gonna hold up the Atarka's Command because we can use it as pump, I guess. Oh no, opponent just went for the draw. Okay.
Like a bit of violence now and then. My wild beasts will bring your comeuppance.
We are still short on mana though. That's still a problem. So this one's not. This one's still likely. Stitcher Supplier. Our opponent is going heavy on the reanimation. They whiff. They might just... okay, Blood Artist. That will buy our opponent quite a bit of time.
I wish you could see your face when I'm beating you.
Thinking this through, I definitely don't want to stack this yet. Actually gonna just play Magna. Holding up the Atarka's command. Opponent's actually letting it slide, so it looks like they do have a blood. Well, blood for bones, but no real targets. Ghost Rider, that's a good one. So we hit the Voracious Hydra.
Come and destroy.
So I want this to be x equals 3. Snipe the Woe Strider, swing with everything. We lose Magma. But we should be able to clear the rest of the way. Opponent's actually letting it go because they, well, they have the Blood Artist anyway. And they can just chump block with this. We're probably gonna lose Magda to Stitcher 6 Shine. Okay, that's fine. Now we're knocking on wood. Our opponent doesn't mill anything good off this. But Mid-toss. Okay, that's a good thing for us to see our opponent mill. Essica, God of the Tree. This is legendary. Play as land.
We are the many.
So actually, I have a way to force our opponent to give that up. Oh yeah, wait, what's this? Can't gain life. Okay, so we still get dealt damage. That's fine. And oh, that's kind of overkill. Let's wait. Also, I might still need to cast 6 and okay, opponent concedes there. So we got that. So next game is gonna be the last one. Our opponent gets to go first. Based on what our opponent cast, do I want Direfleet Daredevil in? Maybe not. Do I want Primal Might? Still maybe. Well, there's an argument for Primal Might over Lightning Strike, I guess. I'm keeping the. Yeah, I guess we can go for that. Then watch us draw it and not be able to play it. Sometimes it happens. But overall, I can say that we did a reasonably good job here. Oh wait, we got 2 lands. We just need 1 more for Rejuvenator, and we have kind of early plays. Yeah, this was I almost missed this one. I might have missed this one last time also. That would have been a big whoop. Opponent goes early Flutter Bone. So take turn 2 Stomp, I guess. Let's see what our opponent has on turn 2 play. Hold on, this is return only if your opponent lost life this turn. How much does it pay? Okay, 2, so he'll need to make me lose life another way. Turn 3, I will have to play the Rejuvenator, especially if I don't draw a land. Okay, I did draw a land though, so I will play this one. So next turn we can Bombery into Resilient. Force our opponent. Ooh, those are nice lands our opponent probably needed. Alternately, I can Banefire, but I want to save that. basically my plan is to put as much pressure on board as possible.
The only authority that
Now
I
our opponent
recognize
does...
is
No, that was our previous opponent. I don't know if this opponent has a language. Now this is an auto block. So at least it takes away blood for bones as a plan. And our opponent, the best thing they milled was Woe Strider. They're missing the second black. Actually, I'm curious what the green is for. Wait. Garuga the macro save. So hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes this a 4, 5, 5, 5. Alternately, I can just Banefire and get in for 8. The problem is I might need this for something else. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. They just trade. I guess I'm okay with them just trading. It feels weird. Hold on, cancel.
Nothing disgusts me more than law and order.
Now our opponent could just be sandbagging the last mana and Shieldred, which would be a big problem. Opponent goes Golos. So 8. Now this is worth Banefiring, I guess. The alternate plan we can do is... because our opponent wants to just buy this back. Our alternate plan, fight, swing, Rekindling Phoenix.
What's that? Something smells rotten. Wait, that might be me.
Yeah, that Banefire did work. So now our opponent needs to actually sweep the board. Noxious Gear Hulk. That will kind of do it. Oh wait, Primal Might. So what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Without having to fight.
The only
Wait, we might
authority
have fought
that I
once.
recognize is chaos.
So all my sideboard cards came true. Yeah, all the sideboard cards came true. And the Resilient Kenra was resilient enough for the win. So there we go. We got that. So we broke even. We got our ICRs off this, but that was a very fun match. I'm actually very happy we got through this one. Whew. Who would have thought that yeah, we sideboarded in the right cards. So unfortunately, well, I'm fine with this. We broke even. I can't ask for much more. So we're gonna claim our prize, see what we got. A nice mythic too. So Sahili, okay. Sifter Worm. Actually, I don't have that many cards from Amonkhet Remastered. Finale of Glory. Can't be worse. At least we didn't lose money. That's all I can say. So there we go. That's it for this episode of the Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications and whatnot. Cube is nice once in a while. I'm sad it doesn't help our progress, but even then, it's nice to have a breeder once in a while. Be able to try something that's relatively fresh. It does look like Reanimator is very popular, so do keep that in mind when you're drafting. But it looks like the mid-range plan, the ramp and mid-range really work there, so good for us. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you guys again next time. Take care, God bless, stay safe wherever you are. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.